You've been devouring books since childhood, accumulating wisdom and unlocking the secrets of the universe, one bound treasure after another. But what if I told you one of history's most brilliant minds believed your ceaseless reading was akin to gorging on little more than literary Happy Meals? Empty intellectual calories leaving you spiritually malnourished? We're talking about the German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer. Schopenhauer had very contrary views on the reading of books compared to conventional wisdom. As he bluntly put it, if a man does not want to think, the safest plan is to take up a book directly he has a spare moment. To Schopenhauer, the typical book lover's habit of constant reading without true contemplation was akin to mindless consumption. Each book binged provided mental calories, but no true nourishment for thoughtful digestion and philosophical sustenance. In his provocative essay, On Reading and Books, Schopenhauer wasn't applauding the expansion of personal libraries, but advocating for a mindful engagement with literature. It's about selective reading, embracing wisdom through discernment, rather than mere accumulation. Brace yourself, because Schopenhauer's guidelines for how to read purposefully and retain wisdom, rather than accumulating pages, will likely upend your current habits and assumptions. If you're ready for advice from one of history's most brilliant but contrarian thinkers, one that may disappoint your book-devouring ways, then keep watching it. Schopenhauer's stance on reading highlights a cautionary tale about the perils of overindulgence in literature. He illustrates this point vividly, stating, "And so it happens that the person who reads a great deal, that is to say, almost the whole day, and recreates himself by spending the intervals in thoughtless diversion, gradually loses the ability to think for himself. Just as a man who is always riding forgets how to walk, such, however, is the case with many men of learning. They have read themselves stupid." Here, he equates relentless reading to a kind of intellectual atrophy, where the constant consumption of others' thoughts impedes the development of one's own. Like muscles that weaken without use, the mind, too, can deteriorate from lack of exercise in critical thinking and personal reflection. In an age where the abundance of literature tempts us to collect books en masse, Schopenhauer's advice emerges as a crucial call to hold back. He smartly criticizes our rush to collect lots of books with his observation: "It would be a good thing to buy books if one could also buy the time to read them. But one usually confuses the purchase of books with the acquisition of their contents." This remark pierces through the common misconception that simply owning books equates to absorbing their knowledge. Schopenhauer highlights the pointlessness of hoarding books without dedicating the needed time and effort to truly understand their ideas. He suggests that without this deep engagement, our book collections are just decorative, giving only the appearance of intellectual depth. Schopenhauer's advice to not read too much is thus not a call to ignorance, but an appeal for thoughtful engagement with literature. It's a reminder that books are meant to be digested slowly, with the mind actively engaging in dialogue with the text, questioning, and contemplating the ideas encountered. This approach fosters a deeper understanding and appreciation of the material, ensuring that what we read not only informs us, but also transforms our way of thinking. In a world overflowing with books, Schopenhauer tells us to spend our limited reading time on works by the greatest minds. He says, "Only read for a limited and definite time exclusively the works of great minds, those who surpass other men of all times and countries, and whom the voice of fame points to as such. These alone really educate and instruct." He's pointing out that with so many books out there and not enough time to read them all, we should focus on the classics, the books that have stood the test of time because of their deep insights and wisdom. The classics have been loved and respected through the ages for a reason. They offer timeless wisdom that can help us understand the world and our place in it. By choosing to read these works, we are not only reading, but also connecting with the greatest minds in history. There is nothing that so greatly recreates the mind as the works of the old classic writers directly. Once one has been taken up, even if it is only for half an hour, one feels as quickly refreshed, relieved, purified, elevated, and strengthened as if one had refreshed oneself at a mountain stream. Is this due to the perfections of the old languages, or to the greatness of the minds whose works have remained unharmed and untouched for centuries? Perhaps to both combined. This reflection from Schopenhauer beautifully encapsulates the transformative power of engaging with the classics. It suggests that the act of reading these venerable texts is not just an intellectual exercise, but a profound experience that rejuvenates the mind and spirit. Although Schopenhauer did not specify which authors he deemed great, it is evident that he held the ancient Greeks and Romans in high regard. He believed that reading these classics not only enhances our knowledge, but also refreshes and elevates our minds like no other activity. Reading these works can be refreshing, relieving, and strengthening. Schopenhauer believes in the value of rereading significant books, emphasizing any kind of important book should immediately be read twice, partly because one grasps the matter in its entirety the second time and only really understands the beginning when the end is known, and partly because in reading it the second time, one's temper and mood are different, so that one gets another impression. It may be that one sees the matter in another light. He suggests that the first reading of a book lets you familiarize yourself with its content, but the true depth and understanding come from going through it again. The second reading allows you to see things you might have missed before, understand complex concepts fully, and perhaps even interpret the message differently because you might be in a different mindset or stage in life. This approach to reading ensures you don't just skim the surface of a book's wisdom, but dive deep into its true essence. Another crucial, maybe the most important one, piece of advice from Schopenhauer concerns the discernment in our reading choices. He sternly warns against the dangers of consuming low-quality literature, asserting, "One can never read too little of bad or too much of good books. Bad books are intellectual poison. They destroy the mind. In order to read what is good, one must make it a condition never to read what is bad. For life is short, and both time and strength are limited." This cautionary guidance emphasizes the harmful effects that poor quality books can have on our intellect and spirit, likening them to poison. Schopenhauer argues that a deliberate choice to shun bad books is vital for anyone looking to invest their time and energy in literature that truly enriches and educates. Further expanding on this concept in his essays and aphorisms, Schopenhauer provides a guideline for discerning what to avoid. The art of not reading is a very important one. It consists in not taking an interest in whatever may be engaging the attention of the general public at any particular time. When some political or ecclesiastical pamphlet or novel or poem is making a great commotion, you should remember that he who writes for fools always finds a large public. A precondition for reading good books is not reading bad ones. Life is short. Here, Schopenhauer suggests that popularity does not necessarily equate to quality, and that true wisdom often lies beyond the transient interests of the masses. By advising against following the crowd, he champions the pursuit of literature that withstands the test of time over fleeting trends. This approach not only conserves our limited time and mental energy, but also ensures that what we read contributes positively to our growth and understanding. Schopenhauer's ideas are radical and force us to confront an uncomfortable reality. Our voracious reading habits may weaken rather than enrich our minds. American philosopher Mortimer J. Adler's wisdom. In the case of good books, the point is not to see how many of them you can get through, but how many can get through to you, captures the essence of Schopenhauer's challenging philosophy. Our stacks of books risk becoming meaningless objects if we don't take time to really think about them. Schopenhauer suggests that the true path to wisdom lies in self-control, by selectively allowing ideas to fully penetrate our minds. Thank you for watching.